Welcome to the Featured Anime Podcast. I'm your host, Jack.
And I'm Rick.
And today we are talking about Scarlet, which is recommended to us by CJ from Anime Anonymous. Thank you for the recommendation. If you want to hear some general anime discussion that we were just talking about with our chat here on Twitch, go ahead and go to patreon.com/featured anime podcast, $1 a month to get you access to that bonus content. And now on to the meat and potatoes. In 16th century Denmark, Princess Scarlet trains for years to avenge her father, King Hamlet, who's executed on the orders of his own brother Claudius in a bid for the throne. She gets basically one shot at the killing Claudius during the royal ball, and he poisons her first rather than her poisoning him. She ends up waking up in the land of the dead, or the other world, realm where the living and the dead cross paths. Where the rules are actually really brutal, and her rule: hunt down Claudius and reach a place called the Eternity or Paradise, or basically just kind of dissolve into nothingness. If you die, if you get killed again, that's it. You dissolve into nothingness. Running alongside her is Hijiri, a present day paramedic who gets pulled into the same afterlife with no idea how he got there, and spends most of the movie trying to talk to Scarlet and talk her out of the very event she spent her whole life building towards. It's basically a what if scenario, alternate viewpoint of, in my personal opinion, Hamlet.
We talked about it a little bit before, and yes, I do agree. I can see where you would draw the parallels. I'm not too familiar with Hamlet, other than when we watched it, or when we reviewed it in high school. I haven't really touched it since. So my memory of Hamlet is essentially get thee to a nunnery. That's my upper limit. So
no,
I took more parallels.
You know, one of the other famous lines.
Oh, the to be or not to be. Yeah. I had to remember that in 6th grade. I memorized it in 6th grade, and I only remember like the first 2 or 3 lines. It's abysmal. Anyway, when you talked about it being a parallel, I was like, no, that's not. Well, no, that makes sense. Yeah, okay. I can definitely see where you're coming from with that. However, where my point of view was when I was going through it, my closest comparison is just an absolute worst version of Dante's Inferno, mainly because of the taunting, the levels. The one in one particular area, I think there was etched into a wall, abandon hope all he who enter here, or something along those lines.
Yep.
And just the mass suffering with nobody caring about anything.
Right.
So that's kind of where and my parallels also included that for some reason the evils seemed to outweigh the good.
Right. So here's my parallels for it, right? You have Princess Scarlet, Prince Hamlet. You have Uncle Claudius, King Claudius. You have Hijiri, Horatio. You have basically the underworld, limbo, ghost, supernatural parallels in between the two. You have your quest for vengeance. You have the other characters that are in there as well, that are literally name for what the characters are, including Gertrude. I mean, like literally it is, okay. and CJ even agrees. CJ says, yeah, it's Hamlet. It's Hamlet, just
no,
just a different take on it, a different viewpoint, and credit your animation on it.
No, I agree with you. When you said it, it made way more sense than my thought process on it. But it didn't occur to me at the time, and it made more sense. So I'm like, oh yeah, it's definitely this. I even told CJ, and needless to say, he disagreed in a minor way.
Yeah, he loved the show. He loved it.
I was
I
gonna say
had
he
talked
loved
to him
Dante's
privately.
Inferno.
He had put on a show for the podcast, pretended he actually hated it. But when we were talking, he actually loved the show. He said it was honestly one of the best interpretations of Hamlet that he had seen in a long time. He would actually really recommend it to a bunch of people, and that he thought it was just a fantastic show all around.
That makes sense. I can totally see him doing that.
Yeah. No, for real, CJ did actually hate it. He said he hated it. I listened to the podcast. I heard why he hated it. I disagree with why he hated it. And I'm just gonna say right now, I mean, if CJ, if you paid attention to the show, your questions would have been answered. Just gonna throw that out there right now. But that being said, I mean, Claudius. So I mean, like, this is, with this being a straight up Hamlet retelling with the names barely being changed, and this new information to you. I mean, like, do you feel like, well, you said you never saw or watched any of the plays or read Hamlet before, so I can't honestly. The question I was going to ask you was like, hey, do you feel like it was like a good retelling of the story, or do you feel like he was just kind of lazy with his writing? But one of the things I will say this: the director, CJ says it was lazy, it was boring, it was dumb. Can't
win them all.
Can't win them all. I will say this: Hosoda's, he was the director for this. He was kind of tangling with and toying with a couple different animation styles for this. He dabbled in regular 2D and CG animation, and he spent, and believe it or not, I actually looked it up, he spent years developing this for it. I feel like that was time better spent elsewhere on better animation than what we actually got on this. And I'll say this right now. They even use some live action stills or pictures or like a video for some of the sceneries on there. And it's like, why? You just being lazy for the animation for this.
Not wrong. That's exactly what it feels like.
Yep.
That's exactly what it feels like. And it's not something that more money could fix, unfortunately. I mean, obviously he spent a copious amount of time, but I feel like if it was a more consistent artistic choice, that's one thing. But there were so many different animation styles coming to you in the weirdest transitional ways.
Oh yeah.
That's why I felt Dante's Inferno might be accurate, because every level of hell was a different viewpoint. And I don't know if you caught this or not.
It's not that every level of hell in Dante's Inferno is a different viewpoint. It's a different torture with an end goal of them reaching the lowest point, the worst point, not the highest point, but the worst point. And granted, I do see the parallels for that, and I do see kind of in regards to what you're going to say, because they did have Abandon All Hope, Ye Who Enter, or Abandon All Hope, Ye Who Enter, because that was literally written on there. And the purpose of Dante's Inferno is to make it all the way down to the bottom, to the lowest ring, just so that way he can go make his way towards heaven, if I remember correctly. I mean, so I kind of see that too, right? Where the parallels in between the two, I could see that.
Yeah. Well, again, I was gonna say, I don't feel like they were both dead. I don't feel like in Dante's Inferno he was actually dead, because he was able to go through eternity to the afterlife or his forward life, or however you'd like to put it.
Dante's, he wasn't dead. He was making the journey through. He was traveling. Yeah. I mean, so that's why he was able to progress through there. It's not because he was sent there. He was traveling through there.
Okay. So he wasn't sent there, but he was traveling through there to get to a destination, which was back to the real world, right?
to heaven.
To heaven. And Scarlet's motivation was to prevent or gain revenge. So
Not
those are
prevent.
totally different. Well, I was a prevent her uncle from entering eternity.
No, her sole purpose was solely for revenge. Like that
okay.
that was her only purpose. She didn't care about anything else other than to pursue revenge. And that was her whole thing. That's why she spent years training. And when she found out that he was still in the afterlife, she was like, I still get to have my revenge. And that's why she pursued and chased after him, was for that revenge.
Yeah, that makes sense. Any parts in this show, in this movie, that stood out to you as being just off?
The animation was just off. The whole internal conflict, I need you to actually, I'm not going to take a guess. I want you to tell me what you mean by off.
I mean off in the sense of it didn't feel like it fit to the story. And what I mean by that, I'll give you my example. I have no idea what the dragon was doing there. I have no idea why it shifted in size. I don't know why it seems like it was protecting her. I don't know why it only showed up in times of conflict. I don't know why it was literally a mass of weaponry. My guess was that it was at one point in time alive and was this thing that, from the looks of it, many people attacked and left and like stabbed it and didn't quite kill it, and don't know exactly what killed this massive behemoth of a dragon. But it seemed arbitrary. It seemed like a plot-driven device to protect her, kinda.
Yes, I would agree with that. For a couple reasons, right? So I know that one of the gripes that CJ and them had also was the dragon as well, and for them it was the dragon just kept seeming like it was disappearing or shrinking every time it showed up, starting out roughly the size of a country and then getting smaller from there. My theory, and I have a couple different viewpoints on it, right? It'll be one of two different ways that this can go. All right. So one of my theories, one of my viewpoints on it is it had to do with the number of actual souls that were in conflict on their way to get to eternity. So the more souls that people faded, the smaller it got. So because you saw a lot of people fading, a lot of people getting killed, and they had a lot of fights and riots and things like that. So the more that happened, the smaller it got. That is one possible scenario. That is a theory. Again, it's theory. It's never exactly pointed out. The other option is, and this is the one I actually actively believe, because it only really showed up, again, like you said, to protect her, but it only showed up when she was in trouble. So not everyone, when she was like in real danger of being hurt or whatever, it showed up. But it also showed up when people were actively attacking those that weren't trying to defend themselves, that were just trying to get away. It was actively attacking people that were like trying to peacefully move through the afterlife. And so the swords, I feel like, are the symbolic nature of its eternal conflict with those that are trying to strike out and attack those who just want to be able to move peacefully to the afterlife. Because it never attacked anyone that wasn't attacking. It only attacked those who were attacking. Okay. And I know that one of the other things is like, oh, well, it didn't show up when there was this big battle conflict. It's because you had people that were actively fighting against the others that were actively defending themselves. So it wouldn't show up then, because it's not people fighting against people who are just trying to run away. It's people fighting against people.
Okay. Okay.
So basically it's like, if you're going to take the wherewithal to defend yourself, I don't need to be there to try and defend you when you're just trying to run away. They weren't running away. They were there trying to push forward and attack and defend themselves versus others who were unable to defend themselves.
Mm. So you don't think it's her specific. You think it's the act of not fighting back specific.
Yeah, because when the dragon was there attacking other people, she said, "Get down," and then she just laid there and closed her eyes, and she just didn't move. She didn't do any conflict. She didn't try and attack. She didn't do anything. She just laid there peacefully, and she was fine. And it's the same thing when she was there others around other people, and they were trying to attack her. The dragon didn't attack her. Didn't even attack Hijiri. It only did lightning to try and prevent other people from attacking her. So it was active enforcement of protection for her. And the reason why I believe that it was more so a plot device for her to be protected, because if you remember at the beginning, the witch doctor or the lady said, "Hey, your father already faded into eternity." Well, when the dragon dissipates, you see it dissipate towards the end. Spoilers for everyone, but we're going to be talking about some end game stuff here. It dissipates to the end, and the dragon dissipates and basically turns into birds and flies away because she's at eternity, or the door to eternity. Her father appears there after the dragon dissipates, after the dragon already did what it was going to do to protect her specifically, dissipated, and that's when her father, Amleth, showed up. That's why I have the theory that it was actually there specifically to protect her. So I gave you two different possible theories, right? Yeah. One is like in general, it just protects people in general who aren't defending themselves, who aren't fighting back. And then the other one was like, it was specifically a plot device for her to be protected. Like her father was still protecting her even in the afterlife or in this world.
All right. My second point of contention, or my point of like why, when you watch the trailer for the movie, she finds this puddle of water, drinks it, and then vomits.
Right.
And the witch doctor says something like, "What is it to be human?" or something like that. Never happened in the movie that I can see.
It happened at the beginning of the movie. Happened at the very beginning of the movie. It happened within the first 5 minutes.
Hold on. So they did a vision of her in the underworld, and then it jumped back to her at the party, and then it jumped forward again.
Yeah. So what it did was it's like set the premise. Like, here's the story of of Princess Scarlet and blah, 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 blah. And then it went to show her in a cloak moving forward, basically completely deprived of any moisture, just basically dying of thirst at this point, ready to fade to oblivion, sees the water, runs over, drinks it, and then vomits up like these parasitic organisms, which is where also the first viewpoint of the dragon is too. And that's where the witch doctor says it. But then at that point, while she's laying there, that's when the hands start grabbing her. So then at that point, it backtracks to her living world, shows the events leading up to that. And then it takes you back to the afterlife with her being in that spot, being in the point to where she's having those hands. And that's when the witch doctor or whatever says, "Your father's already faded into eternity. He's already faded because he was weak," or whatever she says. But King Claudius is still here. And that's when she's like, "Oh, hell no, I still get to have my revenge."
Right? Huh. See, I took that as not a connected thing. I thought she passed away in her sleep or in the coma, however you'd like to put it, and into nothingness. Then when she busts out, I thought that was her introduction to what is this place, and her introduction to the witch doctor. Yeah.
Basically, kind of. Yeah. So it was leading up to the point you got to see, like, okay, this is where it's going to take place. Saw the events leading up to it. Then you're continuing on from it because it was like, oh, you have this one chance, you one moment, you blew it. And again, like they're at the basically a place where paths cross, where the land of the dead, right, and you have people that are still living, and they're basically skirting death, because you have those outer body experiences. You have those people that have those experiences where it's like, they didn't die, but they have the experience of being dead or seeing other people who have died. And then they also point out, and it's also said, it's like, this is a world where time is basically a mesh. Like there is no particular time. Time flows differently, and it's a culmination of different eras and times. And you can see this because with him being the only modern one there, supposedly, but you see others that are there. We also have to take into consideration he is the only one that is modern from Japan. That does not mean that others aren't modern there, because there are other worlds that are also modern that don't have technological advances, or they just have a particular lifestyle, especially if you go to the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, if you go to Egypt or places like that, they have like very particular dress that they wear, and they travel very particularly across long distances and things like that, depending on where they are, depending on their circumstances and their lifestyle. So it's not unusual for people to continue to travel and have it still be modern. So you can't just base it off of modern, off of him being the only modern person, because you don't know that.
I was gonna say, even though according to what we can see, he is.
Yes.
It's an interesting phenomena to me, because that means you have good and bad people showing up. You don't have any strict sense of, well, I did this in my life so that I would gain this. No, it was basically like, you live your life and then you die. And then once you're dead, you get to fight your way up to eternity, or lose and face eternity on your own as well.
Well, that's where, hence going back to the dragon second theory, right? Where it protects those who are not fighting against themselves. It only protects those that are for people that are not fighting in general. So the people that are traveling through, that are going through, it's meant to be a trial. Like, do you just, hey, this happened, do you just settle down? Do you just stop? Or do you, even at this point, still strive forward and push forward to the end destination, to the ultimate point? Are you truly worthy of being in paradise, in eternity? Do you truly deserve being here? And so it's basically the final test, because a lot of people view life as a test, right? And depending on, your viewpoints, I mean, some people even view this as purgatory, as the in-between, right? Where we're going, like what they're going through in this movie for the land of the dead, this is that reality here, right? You have your choice.
You're not wrong. It makes sense. It's definitely one way to look at it, and it's opened, not my eyes, but it's opened the possibilities of, in a weird way, salvation. And I say that as a question mark, because if somebody was, let's say, horrible on Earth, did all the bad things, right? They go to this afterlife, you still have a chance. Not a big one. Definitely not a big one.
Right. Well,
but it gives you a chance to essentially repent.
Yeah.
Through your actions.
Right. And we don't know the end game for them reaching that point, because we saw Claudius and the results of him. But I have a couple theories on why at that point the events happen there, and I'll save that for the post show for it, because I don't want to spoil that portion.
Makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, it's basically like, you can either move forward, you can try to strive forward, you can continue to try and do the best you can, or like you can just be a horrible individual in and of itself. And Claudius obviously chose to be there and horrible. Not that he chose to be there. He just was horrible.
I was going to say. He was just horrible.
Yeah.
It's, the movie itself seems to be a lot more thought-provoking than it actually is. And I say it seems to be because you walk away with a sense of, oh, I really wish we'd have gotten an answer for that, when you really did not need one to advance the story.
Yeah. And I'm going to be honest. I'm doing a lot more justice on this than what it actually deserves. And the reason why I say that is because I know that there's a lot of critiques. There's a lot of critics out there that just like hate it. It's like, look, if you're not a Shakespearean man or woman, if you're not a person that's into drama and like overarching play over theatrics and internal monologue conflict, this is not going to be the show for you. This is not going to be the movie for you, because that's what the whole thing is. And I'll tell you this right now. Who was like one of the most aggravating non-evil characters you could think of in this movie?
The most aggravating non-evil character to me.
CJ gave the answer that I would give right now. Hijiri.
I was gonna say, like, the paramedic seems to be the only like the only non-evil person I can think of. But I was debating, like, maybe her mom, but no, she was straight evil.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, our second main character, the paramedic, you're in a world. You're in a world full of death. You're in a world full of destruction. You're in a world where you're basically already dead. And it's not even one of those things where you're like, oh, well, we're not really sure if they're dead. No. You disintegrate. You return to nothing, like, as they say.
Yeah, that's it. You're gone.
And instead of being like, oh, I'm going to use these weapons to protect the people I appreciate. Nope. I'm going to throw a whistling arrow to distract for almost for sure fatal blow, except when it's not, I'm going to go heal them.
Yeah.
And hope that they change their mind. They're going to talk no jutsu everyone, which they do.
They do. Yeah. Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. No, stop. Oh, stop. Oh, this, that. Yeah. He was easily one of the most aggravating characters. 100%, bar none. Like, in general.
Even after he realized he died.
Yeah. Well, after he realized that's when the switch kind of flipped for him. He's like, well, and here's why I feel like that switch was flipped for him. All right. He kept saying, and he maintained for the longest time, that he was alive. He actually shouldn't be there. He's alive. He's trying to make his way back. And because he was alive, he wanted to still hold true to his ideology, because when he would go back, he would have the rest of his life to live with the guilt of knowing that even if they were in the afterlife, he killed people, and he didn't want to have to live with that guilt. Wanting to save everyone, right? It's like, no, don't do this. I want to save as many people as I can. I want to do everything I can. I want to go back to life. I want to go back to my world, my head held high. And then when he realized that's it, he's like, well, them's the apples.
That's the way the cookie crumbles.
Yep.
So I got a weird one for you regarding the paramedic. Why didn't he ever run out of material? Did it just keep refreshing because he died with it on his back, kind of thing? Or is he somehow refilling it?
He didn't have a whole bunch, and he didn't run through a whole bunch, but he had enough gauze for him to do some basic stuff. And then when he was with the other people that were there, he probably just used some clean fabric and boiled water to bandage up and do everything else for the others. So it's not that he was doing a lot of medical stuff. He was just massaging, cleaning, helping kind of lightly dress with clean bandages some of the wounds and things like that.
Fair enough.
Because I know that's what you were going to go for. It was like, he's there taking care of a whole bunch. He's taking care of a whole bunch of people there. Yeah, they have a whole bunch of supplies and things like that there.
I was thinking he's the strongest dude we've ever seen for no other reason than he's got an unlimited supply of water.
Yeah.
Like drinkable water in his backpack.
Yep. So. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you this right now. The mother is an absolute dirtbag. Like how they set it up. And I'll say this right now. Claudia. So the reason why the king gets killed is because the mother is like, he's weak and he pays too much attention to our daughter. He loves her too much. Like, I'm sorry. What? Like, I love my wife.
Attention to me.
Yeah, I love my wife. I love my daughter, but these gonna be issues with people if she's like, oh, you can't love your daughter. You need to only look at me. I was like, no, I look at both of you. You're both. I love you both. My family. I love my family
Equally and separately.
Yes, but yeah, she straight up says to Claudia, like, hey, strips down, big boy. If you're king, you get me. He's like, all right, done. In other words, she's married to the throne, not who's sitting in the throne. She's married to the throne.
Yeah, no, she very, I think the direct quote in the dub at the very least was, I belong to the one who will be king.
Yeah. I belong to the king. I belong to whoever sits on the throne. Like straight up. Yeah. That's who she is. And she lives up to it. And so she has no love, no anything for her daughter. And that's why Claudius kills Almeth, Scarlet's father.
Yeah.
So,
but doesn't just kill him.
Yeah. Executes him in front of people and everything else. And I know one of the gripes CJ had was, oh, why did a whole bunch of people have change of heart against it? And it's not that they had a change of heart. They even themselves were struggling with that own internal conflict, because it is stated that the two I can't remember their names.
Two of the executioners?
Yeah, two of the executioners actually didn't strike him, didn't actually hit him. And it's because of what Almeth was saying. And they were right there and they heard it. It's like, you didn't hear it, but we heard it, and they couldn't go through with it because of what he was saying. It wasn't anything that he was saying bad. He wasn't saying anything mean or evil. He was saying something. It's like, hey,
why can't we be friends?
Yeah. So,
man, and it's one of those stories that, you're right. It's very similar to Hamlet. It's very similar to, at the very least, it draws from it. But whereas Hamlet was a tragedy, this kind of wasn't, right?
Yeah. No, it wasn't. I mean,
there was definitely a redemption arc that took way too long.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and to be fair, Hamlet's not called Hamlet. It's the tragedy of Hamlet, because it's literally a tragedy. This is just simply called Scarlet. It's not called the tragedy of Scarlet.
Yes, it's not the comedy of Scarlet either.
Yeah.
I don't have too much more. Do you?
I don't. I mean, what I'm going to talk about in the post show, but other than that, I don't. So on a scale of up to 10, sir, how would you rate this?
So for me, I know we talked poorly about it. I actually enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the difference. There were drawbacks, 100%. But I felt like it was just another trial for the frivolity of seeking redemption after death. That's what I saw the paramedic as. I saw the paramedic as the hopeful that no one appreciates, the hopeful that is a pseudo useless person, the hopeful that is almost detrimental to progression. But I feel like it was just a trial to see if Scarlet was determined to follow through. I thought it was just an additional piece to the, what is it to be human? What is it for this? Like, why are you this way? So when I took it like that, prior to our conversation, obviously, it seemed like it was an essential part of the plot, the story making, the growth. And I thought it was an interesting way to progress the story while keeping morality in check, if that makes any kind of sense.
Yeah.
So for everything I just said, I'm giving this an 8. I would recommend other people watch it. No, I'm giving it a 7. 7. Not 8, 7. Sorry. I would recommend other people watch it. I don't exactly think that you should read The Tragedy of Hamlet prior to this. If you've had, it's fine, obviously. But I don't think a 1-for-1 would make much sense, or
there are creative liberties to for sure. So you have like King Claudius, he does kill his brother. He does marry Gertrude. However, the relationship between the two of Hamlet and Gertrude is vastly different. The whole story with Hamlet, everything else is vastly different. The king, he basically appears as a ghost, especially at the beginning, and talks to Hamlet and tells him that he was murdered by his brother Claudius. And then also, anyways, there are straight up parallels, not just name, but straight story plots, including where Scarlet's about to strike Claudius down. Hamlet does the exact same thing. He's about to strike him down while he's praying. Claudius is praying in Scarlet. And both of Hamlet and Claudius back out at the end. And they're like, hey, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to accept. The reasons why are different. But, you know, like Hamlet's like, I'm not going to strike him down while he's praying, asking for forgiveness, and give him the getaway ticket to paradise that he wants at the end. But for me, I'm going to go. I spent a lot of time defending it. I spent a lot of time just like talking it up. I give it a 5. It's straight in the middle of the road. Reason why I give it a 5, I appreciate the interpretation behind it. However, Hijiri was just really annoying and aggravating. The constant internal conflict, and I'm going to do this and end up failing at every single turn is just really annoying all the way through. And I hated the animation for it on the most part. Other than that, it has a decent story. It is a good, like, moral conflict resolution. Like, I will, you know, resolve to be better than what it is, and I will be the kind of person that my father or my parents know that I can be.
Fair.
I certainly wouldn't recommend it to my wife. I know she would absolutely hate it.
No.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people I would not recommend it to simply because they would absolutely hate it. It is again, if you're if you told me you liked Shakespeare, if you told me you liked Hamlet, I would probably recommend this to you.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, my wife is an English major, has a bachelor's degree. I would say she should watch this, with the exception of the religious ambiguity. I think it's good.
Yep. So next week we are going to be watching Dead Mount Death Play, which is a recommendation from Jeb. Thank you for the recommendation, Jeb. Very much appreciated. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. If you feel like we did too much justice, not enough justice, or anything like that, feel free to reach out to us. All our contact information is available in the show notes, as well as on our website at featuredanimepodcast.com. Go there, give recommendations, leave a rating, buy some merch, all of it, everything, how you can support us, all of it's there, including at patreon.com/featuredanimepodcast. $8 a month will get you access to that content, plus 2 bonus shows every single month. And until next time, I'm Jack.
I'm Rick, and we'll see you next time.